Hey guys, welcome back to Ignite Mike. I've got an amazing man here who has really been somebody in my life for a while. He has no idea that I was in TV at the time because we were in construction together. I want to welcome to the show Matthew Jones with Ameri Group Builders.
Jesse, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you're here.
This is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So one of the things that I thought was really cool was you got to see this place before we ever even decided to be here.
Yes, I did.
Does it look a little different?
In my wildest dreams, I couldn't have envisioned this. This is, I guess I didn't understand the scale at which you were proficient at this kind of stuff. And this is just this is a blessing, man. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to have you on the show. We want to talk about a little bit of you. The reason I called you was like, hey man, can you make me some suggestions on build out, construction things, permits if I needed it, and you were all about it and willing to help. That's kind of what you do. So What is your company?
So my company is Ameri Group Builders. We're a multifamily renovation contractor. So we work. We provide full service construction solutions for the multifamily industry. So that's apartments, condominiums, assisted living facilities. We also do roofing, roof coatings. So it pretty much full service. We stick to the multifamily end of it. We don't venture out into the residential.
Yeah, so you're more of a contractor in the commercial world than a residential. So we're not calling you to remodel our bathroom.
Right. No, just like someone that has a smaller construction company couldn't operate on the scale that we do. It's just a matter of logistics, and I can't operate in the residential and be successful and do it successfully, at least with my current structure.
Exactly. And one of the things that I know about your company is that you deal with a lot of paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
So you know how to get through the loopholes and all the legal stuff to make sure people are taken care of.
Yes. We help our clients navigate that. We help as far as if they're engineers, we work hand in hand with the engineers, try to help design a tailor-made solution to whatever is ailing the structures. We do a lot of water mitigation, water intrusion mitigation. So we work hand in hand, like I said, and it's been fun. It's been fun for sure.
How long have you been a contractor?
Oh, geez, I don't want to date myself, but
well, you look good, so nobody will know.
Thank you. I've been a contractor since I believe I set for the test back in 2005 or 2006. And then later on down the line, just about shy of 12 years ago, I got my roofing license as well.
Right. So you're full on commercial. There's different levels. You're a commercial contractor, or are you a general contractor?
So I am a building contractor. That means that I can build all the way up to 3 stories, but I can renovate any structure.
Right.
So and with by design, we don't do new builds. We operate in the renovation. So there's not a project as far as size or scope that we can't help with.
Exactly. And now I know roofing is its own thing. So you had to have a separate contracting license to do that.
Correct.
And are you doing any metal roofing, or are you just shingles, or?
Most of our clients, we have asphalt impregnated shingles. We don't really get into the metal roofing too much. We do flat roofs, so TPO. We're really excited right now about the advances in liquid fluid applied membranes.
Right.
So basically waterproof coatings that you extend the life of the roof. It helps the environment tremendously. The amount of trash refuse that comes off of a commercial project is staggering when it comes to roofing, and that just ends up in our landfills. So
you have some solutions that'll help people with existing roofs that may think that the only option is to rip it off and start it over.
That's right. And the great part about it is it's not for every roof.
Right.
Sometimes, unfortunately, the roofs are to a point where that's not an option. But it's a great way to save money.
Right.
It cuts down on cooling costs. and it also you're doing something great for the environment. So it's really a win-win. If it's able to be applied, it's a great. I think it beats a full re-roof any day of the week.
Yeah. And what got you into contracting? Like, is your family a contractor? Were you like a guy working on a crew at one point?
So my grandfather was a contractor,
Right.
and I grew up back in the day of seeing the the commercials where the guy had was in a suit with the tie and had the hard hat on with a roll of plans underneath his shoulder pointing up at a project, and it kind of seemed like a romanticized trade, so a way to go.
I want to be that guy.
Exactly. So then fast forward, I just pursued it. I got an opportunity and pursued it, and it's been a blessing. I've always wanted to do my own thing as long as I can remember.
Right.
I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and I just knew that one day that I'd eventually have the opportunity to do my own thing, and executed on it, and here I am today.
So you have an office here in Port Orange, which is near where we are in Daytona at our studio, but you service much more than Daytona.
We service the whole state of Florida.
Yeah.
So we've gone as far as Miami and as north as Pensacola. So
that's a pretty wide range.
Yes, it is.
That's like 600 miles or something crazy.
Yeah, we live in a very big state. And you don't realize that until you get on I-10. So
I-10 just goes for miles, and you're like,
nothing for miles and miles and miles. It's if you're wanting time to reflect, it's you got it.
Yeah, there's like a bathroom break right before you go to this emptiness to Tallahassee.
Yes.
It's like between those two areas, you have nothing for 2 hours. Then after Tallahassee, there's nothing for like 2 hours. And if you don't make that stop at the right point,
you're hoping that there's a rest stop or enough foliage to hide what you're doing.
What's really funny is I've traveled that so many times on holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And like, imagine on Christmas Day, which we had to go pick up my daughter, and drive on Christmas Day, there's no gas stations open.
No, it's between, if I remember correctly, it's between Live Oak and Tallahassee is just a big stretch of loneliness.
Yeah. And if you hadn't gotten gas, which one time that on Christmas, we were like, we pulled over at like every exit, and we're like, what is going to happen?
I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine. It's especially hard, my wife and I just a couple months back took the kids up to, Seaside, over by Destin,
mm-hmm.
and just us trying to find somewhere to eat. We wanted to get a few miles behind us, and that few miles became a little too much, and then we just ended up settling for. I think we ended up stopping at a McDonald's after Live Oak, but it's a big part of the state.
So life of a contractor, what's one of your favorite things? I know you've done a lot of commercial buildings, mm-hmm. painting the outsides. What's one of your favorite projects maybe you could tell us about?
I think one of my favorite projects is I love rebuilding balconies.
Mm-hmm. So
we did a project over in Tampa for one of our clients, and we basically rebuilt all the balconies, re-waterproofed them from the ground up, and that's the kind of thing that I really enjoy. But I think overall, I love the sense of accomplishment. I love the fact that you're building a legacy. I can take my son and my daughter throughout certain parts of Florida and point to things that their dad has done, and that's I think it's exciting, and it gives you almost an instant sense of gratification. So.
One of the reasons I like YouTube, and I'm on YouTube, is that 20 years from now, people could refer to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to have this conversation, and it does last longer than a day.
Mm-hmm.
But the way social media is today, I mean, it's almost like we have like things like Charlie Kirk and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I hope people don't forget it anytime soon. But it's like, the news happens today, and then tomorrow we forgot about it and we moved mm-hmm. on to the next news. It's crazy.
And it's it's a double-edged sword. It draws attention to issues that need to be paid attention to, but it also, for instance, the Charlie Kirk shooting or assassination, I shouldn't call it shooting.
He's a martyr now.
Absolutely. 100%. But that, just because of who it was, it dominated the media. Mm-hmm. And that same day, there was a school shooting in Colorado.
Yeah, which was sad.
Which was horrible. That got overshadowed, and that's one of my wife and I were discussing this, and it's one of her. She was very, very upset that overshadowed a school shooting, because both are equally horrible, but it's a double-edged sword for sure.
So where that's an interesting conversation, and to kind of talk about it. When you think about a school shooting, it is an independent incident. Mm-hmm. Usually, it is not something that is affecting more than the people within that school and those people who have died. It's independent. Mm-hmm. With the Charlie Kirk thing, and I think that's why it was overshadowed. We're talking about in America. It affected everyone in America for that moment, because what was happening is freedom of speech was being suppressed.
Oh,
it was saying my opinion matters so much and your opinion shouldn't be shared to the point where I would rather end your life than have a conversation. And that's scary.
I agree. But to go back to the example of the school shooting, I think it does reverberate through society. I mean, my son, God bless him, he's 9 years old, about to be 10. And unlike when you and I were growing up, they have school shooting drills now. Mm-hmm. And one of his questions is, Daddy, how are we going to all fit in the bathroom? That's something that a 9-year-old shouldn't have to think about. Mm-hmm. So it does, I think it does. And as a parent, every time we drop off our children, there's a small part of me that just says, God, please don't let, don't let this happen.
And I can see how you can say it's not independent, because it makes us all aware that mm-hmm. it could happen any day to us.
But I think, I do think that the Charlie Kirk shooting, it's really just a sign of how divided we are as a nation right now, which is it's really scary.
So usually at the end of a conversation with somebody, I might ask them, but in this case, are you Republican, Democrat? Are you a for Charlie Kirk person, or do you think he was a racist? I mean, where do you stand with all that?
So I'm a conservative. I teeter between a libertarian and Republican. I don't think that Charlie Kirk was a racist. I think that moniker is thrown around a little too liberally nowadays. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really good way to shut down the opposition, because we've almost been classically conditioned to to immediately stop and say, I'm not a racist. whoa, back up. Mm-hmm. Just because you don't agree with somebody's opinion doesn't give you the right to kill them, and B, it doesn't make them a racist. I think that we've lost sight of what true racism is, and I think that we've come so far in this country, that with regards to that matter, that it really does us a disservice.
I agree. Well, one of the things that Charlie said, and I've said this before, is that he wanted to end the actual ideal, the thought of race. Mm-hmm. Like, race is a social construct that we shouldn't even exist in our society.
No, but I think this is what we're seeing nowadays is engineered division. Whether it be at the end, the author of it all is Satan, mm-hmm. in my opinion. But I do believe that our enemies abroad are socially engineering this division so that we collapse from the inside out. I mean, there won't be a shot fired at the rate we're going.
I know, it's crazy.
It really is. It's sad. It's scary. It feels really heavy.
Yeah.
I think it's a issue that we really need to get a hold of. But even personally, I don't know how do we make a difference. I know you just try to do your best and live by your values, but sometimes that just doesn't feel like it's enough.
On a recent show, we had a police officer, or an ex-police officer, really, on the Heavenly View on IgniteTVPlus.com. If you ever want to go there and check it out, that show kind of talked about George Floyd, and one of the most radical things I think that we see a difference with the conservative movement versus the liberals that have been, so loud for so long, is when like George Floyd got murdered or accidentally killed, or however you want to phrase it. He died. His life was ended. They went to the streets and like destroyed stuff. And what happened after Charlie Kirk was we saw a peaceful vigil. We saw an honoring. We saw love. And the other side hated him and called him a racist while everybody's mourning his death.
It's I think it's telling. I find it almost patently insane that we're made to be the party of intolerance. We're made to be the party of racism, in which nothing can be further from truth. I think that I'm proud of the conservative movement right now, because we didn't react, and it could have
went bad.
And I'll tell you this, Jesse, I think that what people don't understand too is that they're poking a sleeping giant. If it was ever to come to fisticuffs, as it were, I don't think they understand what they'd be waking up. And I pray to God that we never see that again. I mean, we already had that happen in this country in 1861.
And think about how many people died.
Right. It's senseless. At the end of the day, really, it's the division has to stop. The hyperbolic rhetoric has to stop. We can't continuously compare our leaders to Adolf Hitler. I mean, there's a huge. Anyone that can't see that there's a huge difference between Adolf Hitler and Trump, and I'm not singing Trump's praises either.
Okay.
But I think that when we do this, we're going to see more. We're going to see more and more incidents of violence perpetrated, and it's counterintuitive for us as a nation.
Right.
So that's where I stand on that.
I'm with you on that. I'm 100% with you. And if I've felt anything more since Charlie's passing and the movement that is happening, I feel more motivated to speak, but speak in a way that doesn't disunify, but unifies and brings peace. And somehow I don't back down from the conversation in order to do that. I'm not compromising my belief.
No.
But I am also saying, I respect you as a person. I don't want to be at war with you. I want you to come to this place of reason where even if you disagree with me, we can have a peaceful conversation.
Oh yeah, and it's completely possible.
Yeah,
I mean, I know plenty of people that that we don't share the same values, but we can have a conversation about it, and it doesn't turn ugly. And
we don't need to be name calling and like Hitler, like that is a name call. They're just calling him they're using rhetoric and propaganda to defame the president.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a pejorative. There's no positive
outcome to it.
To it.
Yeah.
So I think that I really hope that my son's generation learns, from our mistakes, and can conduct themselves in a manner where it's productive, where it's bipartisan, things actually get accomplished. That's what we need right now. I think we're at a point in this country right now where, working across the aisle, being a moderate is a pejorative when really we need that more so than and that's where we're at, is where each side is so polarized that you almost feel as though you don't have anything in common with the opposition, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
What do you think has caused that over time? Because at one time, I feel like we were the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
When we originally created the country, the intention was to keep us together. And obviously there was disputes amongst the early fathers of the of our nation, and it hasn't necessarily ever been complete unity. But what do you think is a major cause now in the divisiveness right now?
I blame identity politics. I think that when you stop looking at us as Americans as a whole, that what's good for one is good for the other, that really starts to divide us, and it's really hard. I think it gets harder and harder to come back from that. But when and this even as Christians, I think that the sectarian division in Christianity has to stop. When we stop looking at each other as Christians, I sent you that one podcast that I wanted you to listen to.
I don't know if I ever did. I apologize, but I'm going to go back there.
No, which
fine.
One
was it?
It was the Sean Ryan show. I forget the gentleman's name.
Yes, I do remember the Sean Ryan show.
The gist of the episode was the dangers of megachurches.
Right.
And I almost didn't want to listen to it because I didn't want it to drive people away from Christ. Which luckily it was the gentleman he was interviewing did a wonderful job. He's very much a Christian, but when we one thing that was brought up in it is he was explaining to a friend about some project he was working on, and he mentioned the denomination of the church, and his friend said, "Listen," he said, "there is no Baptist, or there is no that's a brand. There's only one church. It's the Church of God, Jesus Christ, our Savior. That's it. Everything else is just branding." And if we could come together as Christians and stop just battling over dogmas and dogmatic issues, just think of the good we could do in this world.
Oh, I agree. Could you imagine if and I said this to on another podcast with the TPUSA faith leader. So TPUSA faith. So Charlie Kirk's organization, the Florida chapter, his name was Seth Tweedell. And I was like, what if we nominated a Christian, an actual pastor leader to run our country, like as a president? People say, oh, well, we're conservative. We're like just so pro Trump. And how could a Christian ever back up Trump? But we didn't really have any other choices. It was him or the other. And honestly, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would ever would have.
Again, I don't always agree with what Trump is doing
or saying,
or the manner it's set in.
Yeah,
but
mostly,
I think there's a way to operate that you can retain your dignity. But
in for our country,
yes.
Yeah.
But
oh, sorry.
No problem.
I don't have to take that.
But the other choice, I mean, I don't even know that that you and I would even recognize the landscape of our country. I don't think we could have survived another 4 years as a republic under a regime that has zero regard for decency, that is all too willing to trade having a hard time. I'm trying to pick and choose my words.
Yeah.
Carefully.
You have to be. This is public, so yeah.
Yeah. That's willing to trade to sell out the values of our nation for personal gain.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think that's probably the scariest part is it's not even being done secretively now.
Right.
It's just right out in the open in our face, and they don't care. They don't care. It's hey, you know.
So I heard a discussion just recently, and he goes, "What's your price? What would be your price? Like, is it $1 million? Is it 5 million? Is it 20 million? Is it 100 million? Is it $1 billion? At what point are you willing to say, okay, I'll side with the other side?"
I don't know that there is a price for oh well, I mean, I say that because no one's putting
Right.
you know $1 billion in front of me, but you know, as a father, and I think you
Yeah.
you being as a father as well, you'd understand this. It transcends our time on this earth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to leave this wasteland of a country to my children. I you know,
Right.
it's already gotten scary enough as it is. So I don't know that there would be a price, but
Exactly. And I'm glad to say that, because then that makes us why we're so good friends, because that guy said this. He said, if there's a price, if 1 million or 2 million or 100 billion is your price, I can't hang out with you, because I need people who are willing to die for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your price is not death, like Charlie Kirk's was, then you are bought. You are able to be bought. You could be bought at any given point if the right person came into the situation and said, "No, I want you to do this, do that." And I think that's, you said Christian, and I'm glad that you openly express your Christianity, especially with what's going on. But as a Christian, like, if we were to be taken over by a Muslim country, as a Muslim country, there are Christians in tons of other nations that are in this situation, and they are putting a bullet in their head and saying, "Denounce Christ." And we have to be willing to say, say, "No, I won't." And be like Daniel in the lion's den, and be like Meshach and Abednego, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who went into the fire and said, even if God doesn't save me, I will not serve something else. And I think that's the ideals of the American people. I think we have a hope in something bigger than us, that our country represents to many other nations. I think we saw it with Charlie Kirk. There were people all over the world celebrating
absolutely
him as a person.
I think that because of the proliferation of social media, it seems that, at least for me, I feel alienated at times. I almost feel like I don't have a have a tribe. I don't have a country. But I think that's by design. I don't think it's as, people aren't as different as they think they are. And I think that if you actually get to take time to talk to somebody, I mean, you're in media.
Yeah.
It makes for good. No one wants to hear wholesome, stories. They want the dirt, the grime, but better way to do that than to put some of these people on camera and have them speak for the entirety of their cause or
right.
And I'm not saying that there's not, that this country hasn't changed and changed in a way that's not, definitely not doesn't leave you a warm fuzzy feeling. That's for sure.
Not all the time.
No. But I don't know that we're to the point where we're so far gone that we don't have anything in common with and I think it's just a matter of talking. It's
yeah.
At the end of the day, people want the same things. Just how to go about getting it probably differs, but you want you want your little slice of the American dream. You want to be able to raise a family. You want your children to succeed. I mean, those are just fundamentals.
And that's what Charlie died trying to protect,
right?
For Americans.
Yes.
And it is a Christian ideal, but it also was a constitutional ideal that the four founders started and our country founded on. And it's the reason that you can be a contractor in our country and you can be out there and be a capitalist and to try to survive and create your own wealth, where in other countries, like North Korea,
Oh, that doesn't exist.
Right.
It doesn't exist. I feel I am a champion of capitalism. I think it is the greatest. It is. There is no.
Yeah.
We don't live in a utopic world. So
No.
nothing's perfect. But I do feel that the opportunity that this country lends to people
Yeah.
is incredible. I mean, it is the greatest equalizer there is. You can come from absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
and whatever you get out of it, whatever you put into it.
And even be an immigrant and
Yes.
come to this nation
Mhm.
and become amazingly successful. Our friends, what was that? It was like a Hispanic food company, Goya.
Goya, yes.
Remember when that all went
Mm-hmm.
down? And he was like, "No, we're not going back to socialism. I came from Cuba. I don't want to. I don't want that back in our country."
And I think that's a great point. Is that some of the younger generation that subscribes to these
Yeah, ideals,
flawed ideals. They very few of them actually come from countries where this is actually implemented.
Right.
And on paper, it sounds great.
Right.
But when you see the devastation that it does to the people that have to live under that, it's there's no place in this country for it. Period.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad that this is what's being pushed on our children, along with many other things. But
so many things.
I don't think that they quite know what they're touting. I mean, it's sometimes it's comical. The LGBT for Palestine movement. That doesn't exist over there. They're not even treated as human beings. They're thrown off roofs. They're executed. That movement doesn't support your movement. So why should you? It's completely empathetic, I believe the word is.
That's an interesting word.
I'd
have to Google it because I'm not that smart.
If not, hey, I'm just a lowly contractor.
Yeah, so I really love your understanding of all this, and I'm sure in contracting that has your worldview helps you to make good choices and help benefit the people that you're working for. What are if you can share one experience you had that just went catastrophic or something that you had to deal with that made you go, I'm glad I live in America.
I think when I first started my company, my very first job, I got a $400,000 project right out the gate, which was a blessing. And it gave me the confidence. Anna was pregnant with my son Nino at the time, and on paper, it would have been the worst time to actually execute on starting your own company, but I did. And everything was going great. And I remember telling my aunt, I'm like, this is going to be transformational for us. I mean, it's going to be. And then, long story short, the property that we were working on went under receivership, which is basically the court appoints a company to come in and run the day-to-days while the other company is going through financial troubles. It's the quick, 2-second explanation of that. And the money stopped.
Oh, in the middle of the project.
In the middle of the project. And I had, bills to pay. I had subcontractors I had to pay, material vendors I had to pay. And I went from being on this incredible high where, the sky's the limit, to, oh my God, we're going to
lose everything.
We're going to lose everything.
That's awful.
And I think that, long story short, I had to get a lawyer involved, but everything worked out, thank God. But I think the fact that we have a legal system that can champion these causes, again, not a perfect system, doesn't exist, but the fact that we live in a country where big bank doesn't always necessarily take little bank.
Right.
You're able to have someone fight on your behalf, and I was able to recuperate money minus the attorney fees, but
but you didn't end up with zero.
I didn't end up with zero, and here I am 10 years later. So, with with just a profound respect for how quick life can change on a dime.
Yeah, and the journey. And so how many years have you been doing it since then?
10 years.
That's 10 years,
10 years.
full time. Now, before that, you were working with other people and things like that. So you're in the business. Don't date yourself. Oh. People love experience.
I'd say I'm going on now, quick math, 27 years.
Yeah. So you're not a newbie to the industry.
Not at all.
And if you want to get taken care of, definitely go to and check out Ameri Group Builders. We'll make sure that in all these posts you can find a way to get to his phone number at the office.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
folks, that would be great. Any opportunity out there, we'd love to be able to help you through it. So, is there anything in your business that it sets you apart from maybe some others? Like, I know you work a lot with commercial. Mm-hmm. Is there something that in the commercial side that you might benefit them that not everybody does? I think that Jesse, I'm not one of those. I think that when people market their businesses or themselves and they use quality, for instance, as a selling point, I think that's implicitly implied, right? Should be. I mean, no one goes to a restaurant and is thankful that they got a steak that was cooked the way that they asked for it, or it tastes like it should, or even better. So I think that one of the things that sets us apart is just we're still even though we do large projects, we're still a smaller company. We operate lean and mean, and I think that it's that hunger that sets us apart. And we're also very much rooted in we make mistakes. Everyone does, and I don't want anyone out there to think that we don't. But we stand behind what we do, and it's not so much that you make a mistake, but it's how you rectify it
or fix it.
So
integrity.
Yeah, integrity.
I like that, and I like that you're definitely. I think we've come to be friends, and I've learned your integrity. In fact, we've had some struggles when I did construction.
Yes,
and you were a man of integrity in those situations. Even though you didn't have to do something, you did it because that's. And
I will tell you that the only thing that supersedes your drywall finishing capabilities is this. I mean, this is again. I cannot tell you how impressive this is, and for you folks out there that have not seen the studio, it is top notch. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, thanks for that plug. I appreciate that. And in every show, I always ask everybody, what's your faith? What would people want if you would want somebody to know about who you are, and what makes you? What faith background, religious?
I'm Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy being Catholic, but I also have started to have a bit of a spiritual awakening, and I'm doing a little bit more independent study, as it were. And it's been really good. I've had a little bit of a spiritual awakening as of late, and my son Nino, he boxes at Lou's Community Gym, DeLand, Florida, the best boxing gym there is. Shout out to Coach Lou. Coach Lou is a Christian pastor as well, and I've just really grown to enjoy just hearing the word, and not having to wait till Sunday mass for it. And he's very fiery, as it were.
Yeah.
He's very, very energetic, and that's awesome. So it's refreshing.
I reached out to him just recently. I know him, and
I know you did. I heard.
And so hopefully he'll be coming on the podcast.
Oh, that's gonna be a great episode. I'll tell you that. He definitely is. He will not disappoint.
Yeah, I'm glad.
He will not disappoint.
This conversation has been great too. So if you were to persuade somebody that in the direction you're going, and I would hear what you're saying as born again experience, an awakening. That is a thing that we all hope as Christians that others get to experience. What would you tell somebody about that?
I would just say that,
How would you try to persuade them?
try to be open-minded. Try to be open-minded. There's a lot of things on the, I guess, the Protestant side of Christianity that I'm not quite comfortable with. Yeah, as far as just the service, I come from a very tradition. The Catholic faith is very traditional.
I came from that too. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not know that.
I got my confirmation and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's awesome. I have my cousin Alex. He's a pastor in Canton, Ohio, but went to Catholic school. Grew up in a very Catholic family, obviously, and he's since found his calling, and is really just living a blessed life.
That's awesome.
But I would just say, just give it a try. You're not going to always agree with everything. There's going to be some parts of it that you might not understand, but don't be afraid to ask questions. And really, at the end of the day, whether you're Catholic, whether you're born again, whether you're Baptist, we're all brethren, and don't ever lose sight of that.
I think what you're saying is one way to heaven, and we're
Correct.
all trying to follow that.
Right.
And that comes through Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for Jesus' death on the cross,
no one comes to the Father but through me.
Come on. And if it wasn't for the cross and his death on the cross and his sacrificial love for us, that we would not have a chance, because we were all fallen short of what he has.
Oh, absolutely.
We've all sinned, and because of our sin, we deserve death.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Charlie would admit he's not perfect. He was not Jesus. No. He was a flawed man who had issues with life. He even confessed. I saw a recent post on a girl that was a porn star,
mm-hmm.
Who tried to antagonize him on a podcast, and he said, "Man, I just hope that you come to know him." Mm-hmm. To that girl. But as a man, he said, "I know I've struggled," and even confessing that. His vulnerability to the audience, mm-hmm. But knowing Jesus, he was all perfect. Charlie died as a flawed man, and look at the revival that has been sent around the world.
Well, we'll all die flawed men and women. I mean, there's.
But Jesus wasn't.
He
was God in the flesh, man.
Yep, and we crucified the only perfect person amongst us. So but I also think that if you stop looking at people and holding them to this expectation of perfection, and really just understand that we're all inequity is part of the human experience, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we stop expecting everyone that we're subject to the same failures that everyone else is. We're all but one or two steps away from not living our, from falling short of really short, like horrifically short. It just takes. It's all situational. If you understand what I'm saying, trying
mm-hmm.
to get to. You can the road to hell is always paved with good intentions,
mm-hmm.
and I think that all it takes is one or two things to happen, and it just snowballs. Life is nothing but a series of collection of choices that we make,
mm-hmm.
and what separates you and I from someone that's homeless. Probably not a lot. I mean, it's probably not a lot. Not as much as we would think. We would like to think.
Some homeless people choose to be.
I agree, and it's. But I think that when you start to, I don't know.
One bad moment in history can change it all.
Oh, like I said, life can change on a dime. On a dime, you can be on top of the world. The what do they say? The walk from the outhouse to the penthouse to the outhouse is a very short distance. So,
yeah, I'm feeling that distance right now. I really am. I humbled myself to build this place, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to have conversations with you, like people like you, about things that people may not even understand. Like, this is eye-opening to somebody who's never had a contracting experience or thought about they just think about, oh, they charge too much. They don't think about all the other things.
I think, it's you wouldn't go and try to negotiate pricing with your cardiologist, but yet you feel comfortable, people feel comfortable arguing with contractors all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about us that makes that they think that we should live off of little to nothing, but especially with what I do, where the contract values are substantially more than residential for the most part.
Which is higher risk.
Higher risk, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. Let's put it this way: I wouldn't want the cheapest guy doing the project. If I had,
especially when other people's lives are in jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, structural integrity of a building is important. You don't want the guy who was trying to cut corners, to come in underneath you. Just like you don't want the cheapest cardiologist. You want the guy you want the best. When it comes to your life, you want the best.
Yes, yeah.
So,
and you're willing to pay for it usually.
Oh, absolutely, with a smile on your face.
Yeah, even though it hurts at the end of the day, you're like, oh, how did that happen? Well, man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, dude. Maybe we'll get to do it again.
I would love to. This has been, it is amazing to see where this is from the first day that I met you, which has been I know it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah, we've been.
From the first day I met you to see this is just incredible to see how God's working in your life, and I hope this is going to bear fruit. Just I know it will. I know it will.
Appreciate the confidence.
Hey, anytime, Jesse.
Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.